If you've been watching the channel for a while, you might remember that there is a beautiful sakura cherry tree perilously close to the east side of the house. We want to save that tree at all costs, but lately we've been asking ourselves, will it be possible? Sorry to leave you with that clickbait cliffhanger in the intro. The situation is probably not as dire as it sounds, but we did have a little lack of communication somewhere along the way that put that poor sakura tree at risk. The lesson here is to watch closely and ask questions. In this case, it was only a question of about 50 centimeters, but that 50 centimeters could have cost us our beautiful sakura tree. After the Jichinsai, the Shinto land blessing, big things started happening on the land. The very next day, the excavator was back, lifting out the rocks out of the center of the land to make a hole for the foundation of the house. But making the hole is only the beginning. The foundation needs a solid foundation. And if that sounds repetitive, I suppose there's always a deeper base for everything. With that abstract philosophy out of the way, let's look at how it's done. After making the hole, so to speak, the land under what will be the concrete foundation is uneven and still plenty rocky. So a soft gravel of shale-like rock is scooped into the hole and packed down. As it packs, it smooths the profile of the land, but that isn't quite flat enough. What might look flat to the eye can be quite uneven when actually measured. But how do you measure a plane to see if it's flat? I still don't know, really, but the team used an instrument that electronically measured the level of the land at given spots. The instrument would beep slower or faster based on how close the levelness was relative to the expected measurement. The team would then pack in the sandy gravel or dig it out as necessary until it reached the proper level. When it was achieved and the beeping instrument was happy, they painted a red circle on the ground to indicate that spot was level. They proceeded in this way for some time, measuring key points across the land until they were at last satisfied that the land was level. The next day, the wood-formed frame for the foundation was built. I had to be at work for most of the day, so by the time I arrived at the site, the work was already done and the builders had gone home. But that gave us a chance to look closely at what was being done. My son was really fascinated by the progress and later told me he might want to become a house builder when he grows up. I had always wanted to be an architect myself, so I thought that sounded like a pretty good idea. I never pursued architecture though because there was too much math. Maybe my son will do better. We noticed something else as we walked around checking the frame of concrete forms. The house was in the wrong place. And this is where we get to the sakura tree. We noticed that the tree was kind of sitting out there, roots exposed and close to the house. On closer look, we noticed that the frame was about 50 centimeters short of the required 3 meters to the property line. That also meant that it was 50 centimeters closer to the tree than it should have been. It's a good thing we caught it. It was really crowding the tree and could have even damaged the roots. But we called our builder. It seems that he had told the crew to move farther from the tree, not closer. And apparently, somehow they misunderstood. But the next morning, we checked it and the frame had been shifted into the proper place. So that was a near miss. The truth is, not only could it have bothered the sakura tree, it could have been a source of complaint for the neighbors. True, it was only 50 centimeters, but that could be enough to cause snow from our house to pile up on the neighbor's land. We certainly want to avoid that. We're going to need to keep all of the snow we can on our land, so my son can make igloos and snow forts loaded with an arsenal of snowballs. We can't afford to give our snow away. Well, the frame for the concrete forms of the base of the house are in place, but the next thing they're going to need to do is put up the rebar that's going to act as the skeleton for the house. And I hope that that's going to happen in the next couple of days.